Well, it's Tuesday, and you all know what that means. That means we've got NWA Powerrr. As you know, they set up a three-way match to determine a number one contender to face off Kenzie Page for the NWA Women's World Championship. And of course, we have several other matches that are taking place. Russ Freeman takes on the number one contender for the 10 pounds of gold, Tom Latimer, and we have plenty other matches. And of course, we have NXT. As you know, we have a brand new NXT Women's Champion, Becky Lynch. What kind of fighting champion do we expect from her? And of course, we have who is the A champion that made the belt proud. Would it be Carmelo Hayes or Dominic Mysterio? Well, we have plenty other things that are taking place, but also we're going to find out who makes it to the finals to the Global and Heritage Invitational. Well, this is going to be a little fun one to enjoy. But first things first, we have the much recent event in the 5-star Grand Prix by Stardom. So we have day 16 and 17 in Fukuoka and Saga. So as you know, we're getting closer and closer to the end. Well, we'll see how it goes from here on out. But also we have some news updates to tell what's been going on in the world of pro wrestling. So let's get ready for another episode of the Deleted Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Welcome everybody to the Deleted Wrestle Zone. All things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, Impact Wrestling, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel where we review a lot of pro wrestling events anywhere in the world, not only here in the United States, but also in Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world where, of course, wrestling is not as big as where it is, but is making a name for itself over there. And of course, we do some DWZ discussions, Unagi Sayaka Watch, the news updates alert, and various other things. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us on the subscribe button. And of course, if you like this episode, please click on the click button on the like, and of course, leave us a nice comment down below. Now, our first review is with Stardom. We continue with more of the 5-star Grand Prix, the annual tournament. We're now going to be reviewing the day 16th. This was just recently on September 16th in Fukuoka, which is the hometown of Koguma, Hazuki, and Maika. Now, all three of these ladies are from the area. However, the only two people who are participating in this tournament is none other than Maika and Hazuki. But as you know, we're getting closer and closer to the conclusion. We're going to see who is out of the tournament, but they continue on until they reach their final points. And of course, who most likely could make it all the way to the end. So, first we begin with the non 5-star Grand Prix matches. First one we have Mei Seira, who is our number one contender for the high-speed title, takes on Waka Tsukiyama. Now, many fans would love to see, of course, Waka win this match. But however, Mei Seira has to be the one to jumping in with the momentum due to the fact that she has a high-speed match coming up real soon in October. But she was able to pick up a win by applying the Rolling Star onto Waka, giving herself the win. Next up, we have tag team action. We have a 6-person tag match. We have Ruka, Starlight Kid, Momo Watanabe versus the rival stars, Saya Ida, Hanan, and Koguma. So you probably would have assumed that this match would have been for something. No, basically it was just another non-storytelling. But however, in this match, it was, of course, the crossface chicken wing by Momo Watanabe to Saida to give them the win. Next up, we have Megan Bayne and Suzuki taking on Hanan and Utami Ayashida. You probably would have thought this is going to be interesting, but it kind of did. But I figured this match was going to fall into, of course, we've been seeing how impressive Megan Bayne is, or as they call her, Megas is. She did a choke bomb on Hanako to pick up the win. Now, our next match is a three-way tag match. Team number one, we have Club Venus, consistent of Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa, versus Yuna Mizumori and Sayo Inoue versus the members of God's Eye, Saki Kashima and Mirai. Now, what I liked about this match is, of course, Mirai and Saki Kashima has been bonding a lot ever since she joined. However, Saki Kashima continues to play her little tricks, where she doesn't want to participate, leaving her teammates hanging, or they'll do the same thing to her. But it always been the obvious. But however, she has becoming a very capable high speedster from what we can see. She was able to apply a Kishikase on Yuna Mizumori. I guess everybody were not surprised to see that, but I'm sure that everybody else are gonna get their payback against Saki Kashima for her instance. So we'll see what happens until then. Now, our next three matches, of course, are involving the 5-star Grand Prix. Our two matches are the Red Stars. First match will be Ami Sourei and Tam Nakano. I cannot recall if those two ever had a one-on-one match, but it was a very interesting matchup because, as you know, Ami Sourei is officially eliminated from the tournament, but Tam Nakano is very much alive. But she was able to apply a Tiger Suplex to give her 2 points. So she's currently right now with 9 points, and of course Ami Sourei with 4. So she's still very much alive, and then she has a couple of more matches on here and out to go. I think from this, 3, but we'll see where it goes from here. Next stop, we have Natsupoi and Azuki. Now, keep in mind, in this tournament, Natsupoi has already had 2 losses in this particular tournament. One towards Natsuko Tora, and I forgot who else. But she could not afford another loss on this one. However, Azuki, as you know, who's been who is a hometown girl, you probably know she was going to build up momentum on this one, but she was able to apply a senton, and then of course the brainbuster, giving her 2 wins. She gave a little small promo to greet the people of Fukuoka, saying that she won. But however, Natsupoi was later revealed officially that she's been in limited tournament, which is a huge disappointment. She has been one of the strongest competitors in this tournament. But however, she is hoping that Tam wins the entire tournament. She will love to see that. Now let's jump into our next match, which is the Blue Stars. We have Azumi and Maika. This was another interesting one. Keep in mind, Maika is a Fukuoka native. This was a pretty interesting match, high speed versus power. But however, it was Maika with the Michinoku driver that picked up the win, and I thought it was a real fun one. But however, of course, Maika, I did state in my personal opinion that I feel Maika could be the most likely potential wrestler that could win the tournament. I know some are saying it's Natsuko Tora, but we'll see when we get there to the conclusion. But as right now, this is it for day 16, so let's move on with day 17. Okay, we continue with Stardom on day 17 in the 5-star Grand Prix. This time they're in Saga. Now, this event took place on the 17th of September. Now, I failed to mention this recently on the much recent review. If you guys remember, I said day 16. Well, the day was September 16th. What a coincidence. And then now we're doing day 17, and the actual date is September 17th. What a coincidence, Well, enough of these coincidences. So let's get going with these reviews, boys and girls. Our first match is a bit of a powerhouse type, but the only size difference is the height. We have Hanako versus Saya. Some of you may think, okay, Saya, who has more of the experience, would have taken on. But however, the only advantage is Hanako's a bit more taller than her. But however, that did not stop Saya Ida no matter what. I mean, she has faced bigger opponents before, but um, I don't think she has ever faced some. I think she might have lost to what's her name, Megan Bain. But however, Aniko was the least of experience of a wrestler from what I can tell. But however, she did apply a modified what was it, stretch plum, and force her to tap out. Next up, we have Oedo Tai, consistent of Ruka and Starlight Kid, taking on Club Venus's Waka Tsukiyama and Mina Shirakawa. And oh yeah, and also it's a three-way match as well. We have Queen's Quest and Azumi, Queen's Quest Azumi and Utami Ishida. So this was a very interesting three-way match. However, you probably would have probably wondering how this is going to progress. Well, you probably know that, of course, we have seen Azumi and Starlight Kid work very well as opponents because they're like yin and yang. They're from the same generation. However, it was, of course, Starlight Kid with the Black Tiger leg killer that put away, I think, was it Waka? Yeah, that put away Waka and in the match. However, Starlight Kid remind everybody that very soon there's going to be a 10-year anniversary of Azumi. And of course, she's looking forward to it. However, Starlight Kid was suggesting let's do a singles match, but Azumi thought, I just had enough with this singles match, so they decided just a tag match instead. So of course, Utami will be her partner, and of course, for Starlight Kid, it will be Momo as always. So I don't know when will that happen, but I'm looking forward to it. Next up, we have another tag match. We have, of course, Megan Bain and Maika taking on Yuna Mizumori and Tam Nakano. Now, don't think for a second Megan Bain has forgotten the loss that she had against Tam Nakano for the red belt. But I'm sure Tam Nakano is not afraid of her anymore since she already defeated her. But however, I had a feeling that this match was definitely going to go straight to Megan Bain and Maika due to the fact that Megan Bain applied a choke bomb on Yuna Mizumori, and was it a choke bomb? Yeah, it was a choke bomb, and it was over right from there. Now our next match is a high-speed five-way match. Now we have some of the best high speedsters in the match. We have Meisira, Koguma, Azuki, Natsupoi, and of course our current high-speed champion, Saki Kashima. Now Kashima knows that they're gunning her. However, there was moments where we saw a bit of a teamwork effort by both Azuki and Koguma when they were making a beeline towards Natsupoi. I think these two haven't forgotten the loss that they suffered when, of course, Natsupoi won the tag team titles last year. But, however, due to their antics, they decided to continue on fighting outside the belt. But, however, the referee was still counted out, and then Koguma took the advantage by going back into the ring, winning the match by countout. But, however, their issues towards Natsupoi is not even over. I'm sure probably they would want to have another crack at them for the tag team titles, but we'll see what happens until then. Now, our next three matches involving the 5-star Grand Prix. Our first two will be the Blue Star. We have Momo Watanabe and Hanan. Of course, Hana has the fighting spirit, but Momo, the much of aggressive style, that always plays. And of course, the tricks that she'll play out when it comes to Oedo Tai. But she also applied the Hito Denashe driver onto her, giving her next 2 points. She walks away with 8, while Hana remains 4. So I'm going to presume that Hana is of course out of the tournament. Next up, we have Mariah May and Mirai. This was going to be a very tough challenge. We have seen Mariah May, some of the people who believe that she is the future of Ace of Stardom. But however, Mirai, who's been proving to be a much better competitor, but she was able to apply the Mirror Shock, and that was pretty much it. It was over. So Mirai walked away with 8 points, while Mariah May remains at 6. Now our main event, we have the Red Star block. We have Suzuki versus Ami Suri. Of course, this was going to be a battle of the Haas, but I figured that this match was going to end with Suzuki. She is trying to aim higher to get to the red belt. That's her main goal as well. So she was able to apply the tequila shot onto Ami Suri. 1, 2, 3. it was over. So I think that's pretty much it. Now I am fully aware that we do have another 5-star Grand Prix soon, but we'll get to that. But right now, let's move on with our next review, and this is part of the Tuesday Wrestling um, NWA Powerrr. Okay, NWA Powerrr. We opened up with a #1 contendership for the NWA Women's World Championship. Now, keep in mind, Kenzie Page believes that no one has what it takes to defeat her. However, these competitors, well, I can say from me, in my opinion, I think one could be the one, but this is who they had. We had Ruth DJ, Natalia Markova, and Misa Kate. Now, of course, Kenzie Page um, knows Misa Kate, since she was the one who defeated her sister for the tag team titles and now regained. And of course, Natalia Markova, when Camille was still the tag team champion, I mean the NWA Women's Champion, tried proceeded. But however, I think to me, I felt Natalia Markova would have been the one to do it, but however, that did not. It was Ruth DJ who actually took the advantage by applying a frog splash on Misa Kate to put her away. Keep in mind, Natalia Markova was the major threat, so that played out pretty well. Now, in an interesting interview, we have, of course, Sam Laterna, who had interviewed EC3 and Jamie Stanley. Now, apparently, there's an exhibition match that Jamie Stanley talks about involving Kobe Carino and Joe Alonzo. So that kind of sets it in. So there's concerns over what if there's favoritism between them, because these two guys don't like each other. But we'll see how that goes. And as for EC3 and United, who's there, he has said that he's willing to defend the NWA World Heavyweight title next week against Bradley from the Fixers. So we'll see how Jay Bradley from the Briscoes. So we'll see where it goes from there. Our next match, we have Zion with the Z taking on the guy Dorby Barrel Bass. Don't know much about this, but this match ended with, of course, Zion with the Z clutch, a submission. Now, we still don't know why Austinado was not there, so we'll see how it goes from here and out from that. Now, our next couple of interviews, first one is, of course, was with Violent J. Sam interviews about the history between, of course, the La Rebellion and Vampiro. Of course, Violent J and Vampiro were old friends from back in the day, but now it appears they're enemies. So they're saying they're going to keep an eye on the main event that's going to happen tonight. So we'll see where it's going to go. And then, of course, the next interview, we have Maddie and Mims, who are now calling their shots. Maddie, on the other hand, saying that she would like to face Camille, even though she feels, oh, you don't have the title, so there's a possibility I could beat you. But, however, I don't think that's the case in this point. Now, Mims, as you know, his primary goal from the very beginning, if you guys ever seen Mims, he had ambitions to go for the NWA World Television title, but he was unsuccessful. But since Tom Latimer is cashing in the title for the 10 pounds of gold, we'll see where it's going to go. I'm not sure if he's part of the qualifying matches, but we'll see. Next up, we have Russ Freeman and Tom Latimer. This was a match that, of course, Rolando Freeman has put it out for his brother due to the fact that they're still dealing with the betrayal by Brady Pierce. But Rolando, who's trying to keep his head in the game, is telling Russ, you got to focus. So he's trying to get him, to get himself head of the game. But however, his head may be in the game, but however, he was not successful in defeating Tom Latimer, who put him in a crossface. And of course, he tapped out just like that. Now we do go back to Sam Laterna talking about with an interview with Chris Silvio and Blake Troop. Apparently, there seems like there's a bit of dissensions between Silvio and Jack Stain. Now, if you guys remember what happened in NWA 75, the match was called and Jack Stain decided to not attack him. Chris Silvio was trying to guide him to tell him, you finish the job and put him away once and for all, but he did not. So see Silvio. So whatever scenario is going on, but that's pretty much it. And we'll see what happens with them in the future. Now back in the ring, of course, Aaron Stevens, along with the current tag champions, Blunt Force Trauma, are now annoyed at the fact that they're going to be having a rematch against Knox and Murdoch. Now they're 100% now Stevens is 100% convinced that the results will be the same, that they will retain the titles because that's how it's going to be. I'm sure that Murdoch and Knox probably will learn from from what went wrong in the last match, even though it's no one's fault because Aaron Stevens got involved. But Aaron Stevens continued to deny. I don't know what you're talking about. Now we have a very interesting tag match. We have Magic Inc., consistent of Magic Jake Dumas, and I forgot his tag partner, along with taking on the Rebellion. The match was pretty good, but however, the Brothers of Construction and Violent J got involved in this match, costing them the match. So now it's going to be leading into a war. Magic Inc. picked up the win when Dumas actually applied a roll up onto Mecha Wolf, and that was over. So it appears that the Brothers of Construction and Violent J are going to torment Vampiro and the Rebellion for who knows how long. But we'll see where that progresses to them. So I think that's pretty much it right now with NWA. So let's do our final review, NXT. All right, NXT. As you know, last week we saw, of course, Becky Lynch becoming our brand new NXT Women's Championship. She comes out to the ring and addresses the locker room, who she feel are good competitors they the face. However, Tiffany Strand, who is not happy with the result, how things did not go her way, does not appreciate the fact that someone from the main roster took away her thunder. But however, Becky Lynch is fully aware that Tiffany does have a right to have a rematch clause. But however, she decided that the rematch will take place no mercy. But however, Becky Lynch had enough with her crap. But all of a sudden, Kiana James showed up. Even though Kiana James and Tiffany Strand are not friends, but they do have a common enemy, and that is Becky Lynch, who is not supposed to be there. So, of course, Becky Lynch went 1-on-2 against them, and that pretty much it how it went down. Now, Tony D'Angelo and Stax, as you know, are the current NXT Tag Team Champions. So they're trying to determine who will be most likely to be the next competitors that challenge them. Now, they voted a few teams that looks likely. Like there's, of course, the Creed brothers. Even though they know they're straightforward, that they know they can negotiate good terms with them. However, they also have the people to sit on the table is Humberto Garbrillo and, of course, his cousin Angel Garza. However, of course, Stax goes, well, we got to keep our enemies closer, taking reference from The Godfather. But however, they have one more seat in the table, so they're going to see who is more hungry to get to that. And of course, the two teams is Tank Ledger and Hank Walker, and then of course on the other side, Bronco Lima and Lucian Bryce. So they're going to be the ones that fill out. So basically, Stax thought, how about let them fight it out and see who will be taking the final spot. Now, later on, we did see both teams what they had to say. Lima and Price said that they feel like that they have what it takes to win. Same thing we saw in the interview with Ledger and Walker. So we're going to see which of these two teams will taking the last spot on the table. Now, we do see an interview with, of course, Mackenzie talking with Dragunov. As you know, Dragunov, he does not like how things are going because Carmelo Hayes, in the other hand, he got in the face of Dominic. Dominic saying that he's the A champion, but of course, he misinterpreted what he said. You see, the problem was he was saying, I made this belt. So they're trying to see who is right. So, but however, of course, Becky Lynch is going to get his hands on both Kiana and, of course, Tiffany in a handicap match or so, but she showed up like right in the interview, but Dragunov's like, go ahead, the floor is all yours. Now, as you know, we're getting closer and closer towards the conclusion of the Global Heritage Invitational. Metaphor, trying to play Matrix here. trying to decide who will most likely win it. I'm like, come on, guys, you can't just think who's going to decide. There are people who should be considered a threat, and that sort of thing. Give me a minute. Sorry about that. This cat tried to jump into the wall, even though he's not supposed to, right? I love you, boy. So anyway, where was I? Oh yes. So our next match is part of the Group A. So we have Butch versus Tyler Bate. Now these two guys are no strangers. If you guys have been fans of the NXT UK, you know for a fact one can beat out the other. So that's always been the case. So the obvious thing, these guys have similar backgrounds. I wasn't too sure how this was going to go, but it was Butch with the batarang when he was able to apply the match. He tried two never-ending maneuvers. I thought it was crazy, but it did show Butch is capable. But if I'm, of course, Noam Dar, don't pretend that you think you know how the results is going to be. You should consider the threats. Butch is a much bigger threat. He's the kind of guy who will snap you up your fingers. So that's something they got to consider. Now, as you know, we've been seeing Thea Hale, with doing a little hanging out with Jason Jane, and now it appears that they're going to give her a new makeover. So we'll see where it's going to go from there. Now we go from the Group B of the Heritage Cup. We have Duke Hudson versus Joe Coffey. I thought this match was interesting. However, we can say Duke Hudson pulled off what he said he was going to do. He became the spoiler. He did state it to Joe Coffey. What if I won the match? All three of us will become tie. I think Joe Coffey thought, that he must be joking, but he wasn't. Apparently he did when he rolled him up, and just like that, it was over. So it did end it with a three-way tie. However, when they went back to the stage and where they were watching, Kelly actually interviewed Nathan Frazier. Apparently, there has to be a decisive winner in the Group B. So apparently, it was announced that Nathan Frazier, Duke Hudson, and Joe Coffey have to be in a three-way match in order to have a winner in the Group B of the Heritage, in the Global Heritage. So we'll see how that's going to roll up. Now, our next match we have, of course, Roxana Perez taking on Lola Vice. Now, keep in mind, Lola Vice got in the face of Roxanne Perez, for some reason. But what I did like about this match, now keep in mind, Lola Vice does have a bit of an MMA type background. But what happened is, she had Roxanne Perez in an armbar. However, Roxanne Perez was able to turn it into a pin. And I don't think, Lola Vice expected that. But it did. So, I'm sure they're not going to forget this, but we'll see where it goes down. Now, as you know, Eddie Thorpe has been going back and forth with Dijak. So apparently for what Dijak did at his native lands, he decided to make a match, strap match. So that's going to be a barbaric, brutal match between those two. So we'll see where that's going to go. Now, as Becky Lynch prepares for her match in the main event, she meets with Roxanne Perez. Roxanne told her that she took a page out of her playbook, so she knows that she has enemies coming left and right. So it's a good thing she's learning from her. But she said she wished she could be her tag partner, but however, her shoulder was a bit more messed up due to the armbar neck thanks to Lola Vice. So we'll see where it's at. Now, we do see a match between Dominic Mysterio and Carmelo Hayes. You probably would have thought this match was going to be interesting. However, out of the blue, for some odd reason, both men accidentally tossed toss each other through Dragunov. But Dominic Mysterio, who used to have mommy at his corner, whenever he stops his opponent, he runs like a little girl. But he pissed off the Russian dude. So this match went into a no contest, and he beat him up like a twig. However, while Dominic tried to escape, and he used Carmelo Hayes to do that. So what happened next? As soon as Dom thought he had everything under control, Dragon Lee attacked him. So it turns out that on Monday, Dragon Lee will face Dominic in Raw for the NXT North American title. So we'll be seeing that taking place. Now, Trick Williams, as you know, apparently Schism thinks that, oh, he's alone, that, you know, that he is no longer. But the problem is he didn't say that they misinterpreted. But Schism is trying to convince him, you're better off with him, with us. You know, that's what they're saying. But of course, Trick Williams is not going to fall for that. Now, Andre Chase, as you know, he is so happy for Duke Hudson for winning the match. But however, Duke Hudson, as you know, he was not refusing, but he's like, knows exactly the kind of competitors he's facing in a three-way match. But of course, Andre Chase gave him a good motivation. Who is the MVP of Chase? He's like, me. Who is the spoiler? Me. So basically, he gave him the motivation. So we jump into that match. However, Joe Coffey, he was seeing red right towards Duke Hudson. And you know why? Because he spoiled everything. So you probably would have thought this was going to be interesting. However, this one went straight to Joe Coffey when he applied the Belfast onto, was it Duke? Yeah, on Duke. And that's going to be interesting. So we will see in the finals next week, Butch versus Joe Coffey. That's going to be a match we're going to. But if I'm, of course, Noam Dar, I would pay attention. Don't try to pretend you think you know. Now, Mustafa Ali in the interview is upset about the results. Why is it that Dragon Lee is getting a title shot on Raw while I'm the one who's the #1 contender? I don't know if there's a loophole on that, but he seems like he's flustered about it. But we'll see. Now, during a backstage segment, Briggs and Jensen, along with Fallon Henley, are practically mortified to find out what Miles Bourne did, turning backs on them. But of course, Baron Corbin shows up getting in his face. But, you know, that sort of thing. Now, our main event originally was supposed to be Becky Lynch in a handicap match, but of course, Tiffany and Kiana attacked her from behind, and of course, it went into a 2-on-2. Lyra Valkyria showed up to help her, and then it became a tag match. Probably this was going to be interesting since both women, Lyria and Becky, are Irish women. It fits perfectly for them. But it was, of course, a great team effort by, of course, Lyria and Becky to pick up a win when they applied a body splash onto, was it Kiana? On Kiana, and that's it. However, in the post-match, Tiffany Stratton attacked Becky Lynch with the table. But however, apparently Becky Lynch raised the stakes. The title match in No Mercy will be an Extremes rules match. So this is going to be a very brutal match we're going to see. So I can't wait to see what's going to happen next week and here on out. But right now, let's end our reviews from here and move on with our final thing, news updates. Okay, welcome to our news updates. First things first, we have, of course, more information from the Wrestling Revolver, the season finale. It was announced recently that Dragon Gate's Masaaki Mochizuki will be present. However, what was surprising is his opponent, and this is the first time ever you can call it a dream match, he will be facing against Speedball Mike Bailey. Definitely going to enjoy that match. Now, as you know, Spanish promotion RCW Spain continues to add more names for the World Cup 4 that will take place on the 21st of October. It was announced that Nina Samuels will be present, so that's going to be good to hear. Her involvement is going to be amazing. Jersey Championship Wrestling, or as we call it, JCW, announced for the Pumpkin Spice show on the 8th of October. There's going to be a #1 contendership match between one called Manders and Alec Price. So I'm going to presume that this is for the JCW championship that currently is being held by Jordan Oliver. Now, for all you fans out there, this is a good one I definitely want to see. Hopefully I get to see it. We have House of Glory as announced for the Friday the 13th event on the October 13th. As you know, I mentioned this before. Murder Grandpa will be making his presence known, and he will be in a title match for the House of Glory Crown Jewel Championship, and he'll be facing the sadistic Charles Mason. I have to say this is gonna be one match I definitely would love to see because there's a reason why. Charles Mason, does he really know Minoru Suzuki? He's called Murder Grandpa for a specific reason, but I can't wait to see how that rolls up. I'm looking forward to that. Now, for the Prestige, Prestige Wrestling Respect the issue that takes place later on this month on the 24th. Two matches have been announced. Mike Bailey will be facing against Breeze, or as you know, Tyler Breeze, and then of course we have the Octopus, Jonathan Gresham taking on Tiger Style, Lee Moriarty. Now, finally, our last updates. This is from Spark Joshi Puroresu of America. Two names have been announced from two different events. For the Rising Heat West on the 11th of October, it was announced that Brooke Havoc will be there. And of course, for the Rising Heat East on the 14th, Amber Nova will be in the show. So I think that's pretty much it. I have to say, pretty good updates for everybody to know about. And I think that's pretty much it what we have. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you know, we have AEW Dynamite taking place. This is where we begin for the Arthur Ashe. But also, we have other things we're going to be reviewing. We have Bakagaiji and Friends, Volume 8. I'm so excited for that. And of course, we have the latest Bleach show for that too. So we may stick with these three, but if I do have time for a fourth, we'll see how this goes down. Sorry about that, guys, but I'm trying to make sure I watch the kid because he's still a baby. But for right now, I will stick to what we have right now in this moment. If there's any changes, I'll let you guys know. But for now, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time. Same DWZ channel. I must bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye. And have a nice day.